Welcome back to Yaffee Live, Talk Radio 102.3. I am Tennessee's voice of reason. Joining me on the show right now, Brandon Lewis. He is the founder of the Tennessee Conservative, and you can read that anytime, every day, TennesseeConservativeNews.com. Subscribe absolutely for free. Brandon, how are you, sir?
Man, I missed you last week. I cried myself to sleep for a couple of nights, and then I pulled it all back together. So I'm glad to be here.
Oh, man, yeah, you were at a conference, right?
Well, my conference, I put it on every year. We had about 125 business owners come from all over, and Canada and a few other places, and so we spent 4 days in the downtown Weston. So I always love bringing people into Chattanooga because it's got a lot to offer.
Well, I know you let me fill in for you on your weekly podcast that you do for Tennessee Conservative News, and I hope I didn't let you down. I did my best to fill your shoes.
I listened to it. I think you did a fantastic job. I often tell people that as I do the podcast, that is often when I get my news. So I do this more as a volunteer. I'm more like your listeners probably, and less like a true news junkie, even though I facilitate the paper. So I was glad to tune in and see and listen to what I'd missed.
Nice. So there's a lot going on right now in the Tennessee legislature. The special session is going on. School choice, immigration. I believe they passed the immigration bill. But what are your thoughts so far?
Well, the immigration bill, I'm glad they're doing anything. I mean, if they were ever going to call an emergency session, it would be for this or, funding for those in the hurricane relief area. Why they took until now to do it is obviously because they wanted the leverage of that topic on the school vouchers. And so it's going through. But what they did do is they had an omnibus bill that was created. And it had in it the creation of centralized immigration enforcement division, and they allocated $500,000 for its operation. We'll know more about what exactly that is and what it will do later. And allocated $5 million for immigration enforcement grants and raised standards for state-issued IDs. So basically, you should be able to tell at a glance if someone is a citizen or a non-citizen. And it enhances consequences for violating sanctuary city policies. But there was one Republican that did not like it, and his name is Todd Gardenhire. Many that are listening are probably, he is their senator. And so he voted no. He was the only one, and he tried to add an amendment, which Bo Watson objected to, and good for him, that essentially would have stripped the punishment for elected officials that facilitate being a sanctuary city. And so, Gardenhire's consistently been more pro-illegal alien and less Tennessee. That has been consistent. He's got many, many marks on his record for that throughout his career. So, but I like this stuff, Yaffee. Some of it's a little bit symbolic. Let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
Have you ever had ants in your house?
Unfortunately, yes.
And when you have ants in your house, and when you find them in great numbers, what are they typically doing, and what are they typically looking for?
Food.
And so the issue is we keep passing these bills that say ants can't come in. Ants can't come in. If ants come in, and if you do something really bad, like you bite the kid, then we're going to expel you from the house. But we're not taking the food out, and that's the taxpayer-funded benefits. That's all the stuff, the jobs, the free education. And so luckily, Gino Bulso's Trump Act is going to go through regular order. In my opinion, they should have pushed it through the emergency session. It's the best piece of legislation I've seen so far. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with it.
Yeah, I mean, are you optimistic about that passing, the Trump Act?
I don't know. It is, one of the things that it does that I think will be very controversial but shouldn't be, is that it changes the definition of what a Tennessee resident is. It's going to exclude illegal aliens. Yeah. And the whole argument for a taxpayer-funded education is that, they're Tennessee residents because they're here illegally. And, and I often say that, if somebody is trespassing in your home and burglarizing it, are they a resident of your address? No, they're not. But it's weird that they define it like that. So I think there will be tremendous pushback from the pro-illegal immigration crowd. And then also, folks don't want to see their workers move out of the state because they can't get free education. They don't want to see people move out of their state because they can't get taxpayer-funded welfare benefits. So I think there will be a push against that from the rhinos. There will be a push from it by the corporations and government school employees because, I mean, they get the budget for the illegal aliens that come to their schools now. And so that is one thing we have noticed is, public education never wants to let go of a dollar, even if it is to the benefit of the students that they purport to want to educate.
I'm speaking with Brandon Lewis. He is the founder of the Tennessee Conservative. And yeah, you were talking about public schools there. You have the school choice bill. That's, as far as I know, I've not seen a final vote on that. It's supposed to be today, at least on the floor. You haven't seen anything, have you? Because I've been looking.
Not really. I mean, the members of the different education house committees, there was only David Hawk and Kevin Raper from Cleveland that spoke out against it. Paige Wally was the only one on the committee that spoke out against it, and Democrat, I have a hard time, Bari, pronouncing his name. But so they'll do the final vote on January the 30th. But Sexton had removed all kinds of people from the education committees for this special session that were traditionally on them, because he thought they would vote against it. I mean, if it had gone through the regular committee process, I don't know that the voucher bill would have made it, and it certainly wouldn't have made it by these margins. And so this is kind of a manipulation. And the other thing is, we have heard that folks are losing educational funding because reps in their county went against the school voucher bill. We had lots of county mayors that were pressured behind the scenes to, hey, get your rep to support this, or something might happen with your disaster funding. It's all been done in a very non-transparent way. And in the end, I mean, it's going to cost us about $23,000 to give away a $7,000 school choice voucher. And it's got all these strings attached and things that a lot of folks don't like. So I just wish that they would have done it a little differently. I think we could have separated the issues of illegal immigration, disaster funding from this, in addition to teacher raises. And we're also now, with this voucher bill, we're double funding students. So we're paying for the voucher, and we're still giving the school the money as if the kid was there. And so this bill may be good because it's school choice, but it is certainly not fiscally conservative in any way.
Speaking with Brandon Lewis, he is the founder of the Tennessee Conservative, and you can read that at TennesseeConservativeNews.com. We were talking about illegal immigration, what they're trying to do on the state level of that and what they're not doing. But one good news here is President Trump has been working hard at this, and he recently defined the Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua, as a foreign terrorist organization. And we know, at least according to some officials, that they have a presence here in the state of Tennessee. So this is good news by Trump. Oh, yeah, certainly. And, all the Democrats that are elected and the media, but I repeat myself, have acted as if this doesn't exist. Like this isn't a thing. But we run stories, all kinds of things, rapes, murders, forced prostitution, trafficking, assaults. I mean, and these are folks that have connections with this gang. And so hopefully they can get rid of them. And it's funny, even David Roush of the TBI started walking back his statements because he said, in an appearance with Marsha Blackburn on her podcast, all of a sudden we have this resurgent, and they're operating in our state. And so a lot of times I think lawmakers don't want people to know how bad the situation is because of the inaction the last 4 or 5 years. And so when really bad things happen, they don't want the public to know about it because it makes it look like they're falling down on the job, and they have for a long time. And so I'm hoping that this groundswell of public sentiment will carry this, to a good conclusion, but we shall see. Yeah, it was just crazy to me that you had the TBI director come out and say, yeah, they have a presence here, it's growing. And then you had a bunch of local officials try to downplay it. No, don't worry about it. It's like, come on, we know this is happening. They seem to have pretty good evidence, but you're right, because they were trying to downplay the issue, they weren't working on it. And I think we're going to find out that this was a real problem, a bigger problem than maybe many realized. Yeah, I think so. It should be interesting to see if they finally get off the
get off the corporate bandwagon and listen to the constituents on this issue. I don't know that they will. I haven't seen a whole lot of evidence for it, and I've never seen up until this special session, which I think he only did it because of the school vouchers. I've never seen Governor Lee do anything except make illegal immigration worse. And so his influence has been a wet blanket on the illegal immigration reform movement in Tennessee. And I don't know that it will change until somebody else comes in. And even if somebody comes in, if they're about like him, we may have the status quo again.
Yeah, I think there were two reasons why he pushed it. One, like you said, to pass the school choice bill. Another, though, is President Trump. I think Trump being elected and putting pressure on the states has helped.
I think so. And, it just makes me aggravated that they always act like the only way they can ever do anything about this problem is if the federal government leads on it. And it's not the case at all. We've got all kinds of things that we could do at the state level, and they should have been proactively doing them. So we'll see if the Trump Act, to me, is like the canary in the coal mine. If that thing makes it out and becomes law, we will know that things are headed in the right direction and the heart of GOP leadership's in the right place. If that thing dies, you know that it's a lot of talk and very little action.
Now, one more thing before I let you go. You want your conservative friends who live in Hamilton County to meet you March 1st at the Hamilton County GOP reorganization. Talk about that.
So if you're in Hamilton County and you're a conservative, you listen to Yaffee, you care about what's going on locally, and you probably watch Fox News, maybe you listen to other conservative commentators, but you don't know what can I do to actually physically get involved in the process. And we have a reorganization where we elect our officials, and we need to keep Tennessee red, but we need to keep Hamilton County red. And we've got a lot of Democrat influence inside the city center. We need to make sure that we are recruiting and equipping candidates, registering people to vote, and communicating with them consistently. We need a good turnout. And over the last 4 or 5 years, there's really not been any activity. Like the organization's kind of degraded to a ceremonial supper club. And that's great, and fellowship is good, but fellowship without goals and actions really that's why we have so many conservative groups in the county that really outnumber the establishment groups in the county, because they're like, we want to do something. We want to physically do something that will advance the conservative agenda and platform. And so there's an Activate Hamilton slate. I know a lot of those folks, and they have put up a website, activatehamilton.com. That's activatehamilton.com. And if you're like, am I even allowed to vote at this convention? And am I bona fide? They will check your voting record. They'll send it back to you. You have to have voted in 3 of the last 4 Republican primaries in order to be able to vote. And you'll represent your precinct if you show up and you're the only one there. So if you want to get plugged in, you want to meet other conservatives, hang out with me for a long time. We'll probably be there from about 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock. They're doing this convoluted process called a delegated convention instead of a mass convention. We don't know the location yet. For what reason, I don't know. We don't know the location yet, but it is March 1st. And so go to activatehamilton.com. I'd love to meet the listeners. I'd love to meet the subscribers and hang out, talk politics, and get to know one another.
I was about to say, you gotta get a location, though. I mean, come on.
Well,
get that done.
It's well, it's not like it's symptomatic, right?
Yeah.
Of the disorganization. Like it's not like reorganizations sneak up on you.
Yeah.
It's like Christmas. Like when it's going to be. Like we know we're going to have humans come to this thing. We probably could have gotten it all put together months ago, but sometimes I wonder if it's just disorganization, and other times
Probably.
I wonder if it's not just intentional, but it's very strange, and we need some folks in there in a leadership position that can coordinate, communicate, and congregate people a little faster and perhaps a little bit more efficiently.
Understandable there. It definitely seems like they do. Brandon Lewis, founder of the Tennessee Conservative. Check his stuff out, TennesseeConservativeNews.com. Brandon, I appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, Yaffee, keep up the good work.